In today's test, we pose the question, how changeable are you? Why not test yourself and find out? From Hollywood, it's the Game Game. The game that reveals a little bit more about your favorite celebrities and yourself. And now get your pencil and paper ready and join this 25-year-old law student from Glendale, California, who loves trivia and goes ape over movies, Mr. Wayne Wilkes. Today, he takes the test to compare him with this delightful television comedian whose new album is entitled Live from East McKeesport, Miss Donna Jean Young. This hilarious nightclub and television personality who is almost a regular on all the major variety shows, Mr. Scoey Mitchell. And this talented actress who appears weekly as Jane Hathaway on television's very successful The Beverly Hillbillies, Miss Nancy Kulp. And here's your host, the star of our show, Mr. Jim McCrell.
Today we're going to ask a series of 5 questions to find out how changeable are you. Naturally, 5 questions can't serve as a full psychological examination, but each question is validated by the Southern California Institute of Psychology. So, if you take the test along with our panel, you're likely to learn something about yourself. For our contestant, this is a chance to find out how he compares to our celebrity panel. Now, Wayne, it's up to you to choose how you think you will score, lower or higher than our celebrity guest. The amount of money you receive at the end of the game will depend on that guess. So which score do you want to predict for yourself, low or high?
Well, my wife's very artistic, and she does ballet and music and bounces around and flits here. And I'm very unchangeable.
You're very unchangeable?
Very.
So you think
stodgy, dull.
Because your wife dances?
No, it makes me aware that she's so nutty. You know, I don't want to join that group.
So why do you want to score, then?
Pardon?
Why do you want to score?
Yeah.
I can win either way. You haven't read the rules of the game.
I know how to score.
Donna Jean.
Okay, Wayne, you will score low then, right? That means that for each member of our celebrity panel who is more changeable than you'll receive $25. If you score lower than all 3, you'll win $100. Let's get started with today's game.
Yeah.
Remember, we're testing you to see how changeable are you, so write down your answers as we go along. The first question is, suppose you are at a masquerade party and a stranger in a devil's costume slips you a note reading, "Be in the garden at midnight."
Crazy.
Now, what would you probably do? A, take it as a joke. B, give the note to someone dressed as an angel. C, be in the garden at midnight. Or D, try to find out who the devil is. We'll start with Donna Jean Young.
Oh, I would like to, what was the letter, please?
The note reads, "Be in the garden at midnight."
Be in the garden. Yeah, that's what I would do, as long as the devil didn't have a pitchfork.
All right, Donna Jean.
No?
This is going to be a great game, Donna.
Well, I'd be in the garden at midnight as long as the devil had a pitchfork.
I'll go.
All right, Donna Jean Young says, Donna Jean Young says, C, be in the garden at midnight. We'll go to Scoey Mitchell.
How do? Oh, if someone walked up, well, I don't know. I might take it as a defamation of my masculinity. If the devil walked up and if an angel
You haven't
walked
been
up...
expecting him?
If an angel walked up and told me to be in the garden at midnight, I would probably get a note to a devil. I'd try to find out who the devil is.
All right, Scoey says D, try to find out who the devil is. We'll go to Nancy Culp.
Well, yes. The problem is I would have been in the garden at midnight, but she's going to get there first, so I have to change my whole plan. Now, I would have to go to the garden at midnight. I'm very curious.
All right, Nancy Culp says C, be in the
Yes,
garden.
that's what she says, yes.
Be in the garden at midnight.
Be in the garden
All right.
at midnight.
Wayne, suppose you were at a masquerade party and a stranger in a devil's costume slips you a note reading, "Be in the garden at midnight." Now,
Yeah, Wayne, what would you do?
Well, I'd go to the garden.
You would?
I'll
I'll
see you
change
around.
mine.
No, that's not. No, it could be interesting to see what happens, you know. I'm not changeable, but this is something you've never tried before. You got to try everything once, then you become firm in your convictions.
Oh, crazy.
So next time you wouldn't go to the garden. That kind of thing.
Fascinating, yes.
Right.
All right,
I'd go.
C. Fine,
Make a
thank
great
you, Wayne.
attorney.
Now let's see what our researchers have to say about the
All
answer.
righty.
Of course, since being changeable is undesirable, the lower your score, the better. And the changeable personality has a strong tendency to avoid involvement. Thus, if you picked A, take it as a joke, which none of our guests did, you sound changeable enough to get 15 points. If you chose B, give the note to someone dressed as an angel, you get 10 points. If you said C, as our contestant Wayne did, as Donna Jean Young did, and as Nancy Kulp did, be in the garden at midnight, you score 5 points. But if you picked D, as Scoey Mitchell did, try to find out who the devil is, you get a 0, Scoey. Now let's move on to question number 2, which is, which of the following words...
I win?
You won. Which of the following word combinations do you prefer? A, love, hate. B, dog, cat. C, sunny, summer. D, smile, laugh. Now, let's give you a few moments to think about that while we take this pause.
Rocks. Rock and Roll Jeopardy, Saturday nights at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on Game Show Network.
Our subject for today is how changeable are you, and our contestant Wayne has predicted he'll score lower than our celebrity guest. So let's see how you all do on question number 2, which is, which of the following word combinations do you prefer? A, love, hate. B, dog, cat. C, sunny, summer. D, smile, laugh. We'll start off with Scoey Mitchell.
That's a good way to start off. Go ahead.
Which word combination do I like the best?
Do you prefer,
Love, hate.
Yeah.
You do?
I love to run the gamut of emotions.
From A to B.
A to B. From L to H, anyhow.
All right, Scoey Mitchell says A, love, hate.
Yeah.
Nancy Kulp.
You can understand that, can't you?
Yeah.
It's my turn now,
Sorry,
Scoey, if you
sorry,
please.
very sorry.
I've got to say sunny summer.
Say love, hate.
No, I'm going to say sunny summer. That's what I'm going to... No, I like the feeling
Sounds like
of
an
it.
ice
It's
cream
warm
flavor.
and lovely, and I like sunny summer.
Sunny summer,
Yeah,
all
but
right.
we haven't had it yet, and I'm,
That's just wishful thinking,
That's
huh?
right.
All right. Nancy Kulp says C, sunny summer. We'll go to Donna Jean Young.
What does our little sex symbol say?
Don't confuse me. It's my first job as a sex symbol. I'll say a smile, laugh, was it?
Smile, laugh.
D, cause we haven't had it yet.
What? We haven't had what yet? What haven't we had?
Whatever
Love,
you
hate.
said, we haven't had it yet.
Smile, laugh? Well, you're going to get it any minute.
I hope so.
All right. Donna Jean Young says D, smile, laugh.
Yes.
We'll go to our contestant, Wayne.
When
Wayne?
am I going to get it?
Just keep trying, smile, laugh.
I'm going to come up and see you sometime.
Go ahead, Wayne.
I'll go with love, hate. I'm with Mr. Mitchell. I think that's exciting.
Just call me Scoey.
Oh, may I? Thank you.
All right, Wayne.
Proper introduction.
You'll go with love, hate, too.
Oh, it's exciting, yeah.
All right, now that all of our guests have answered, you at home have made your choices, let's see what the answer is to this question. Again, remember, the lower your score, the better. Given a choice between harmony and extremes, the changeable nature is attracted to the extremes. Thus, if you said A, love, hate, as our contestant Wayne did and as Scoey Mitchell did, you get 15 points.
You're a nut.
If you selected B, dog, cat, which none of our guests did, you score 10 points. If you agreed with Donna Jean Young and said D, smile, laugh, you get 5 points, Donna Jean.
Is that good?
5 points. If
You finally
picked
got
C,
yours.
How many
Go ahead. If you pick C.
If you pick C, as
Go
Nancy
on.
Kulp did, C, sunny summer,
Yes.
you score 0.
Yeah.
What's good about it?
All right, we're testing to see how changeable are you, so get ready to write down your answers to the third question, which
10
is,
years of analysis. I should know it.
imagine you have just finished explaining to your son why he should respect the law.
I don't
When a
have son.
policeman pulls you over for speeding,
Now you're in trouble.
how would you explain this to your son? A, say that nobody's perfect. B, tell him to do as you say, not as you do. C, insist that speeding isn't really a crime. Or D, use it as proof that crime doesn't pay. Nancy, what would you do?
Well, I think I'd probably drive off. That say that nobody... How old is this kid? Never mind. I think I'm going to have to do B. Tell him to do as I say and not as I do, because I have erred. Yeah. but to err is human. I'll take B. Tell him to do as you say, not as you do.
All right, Nancy Kulp takes B, and we'll go to Donna Jean
I
Young.
ratted out on that one.
Oh, that's me?
Right.
I
Oh,
don't even know her name.
I would say that nobody... what was the question again?
Imagine that you have just finished explaining to your son why he should respect the law when a policeman pulls you over for speeding. Now, how would you explain this to your son?
I'd say, how did the policeman look? Did I help you? No, I wouldn't do
trouble.
that.
That child is
I would actually, what I would do, are you an attorney, did you say?
Yes.
No.
Oh, I thought you are a trying attorney?
No, I'm trying to be one.
He's just trying.
I haven't passed yet. I can't help it.
You can't help me. Well, I would have to say, say that nobody's perfect.
Oh, Donna, how can you say that?
Well, I'm not, you know.
Oh,
Oh, we know.
Scoey, no.
All right, Scoey, we'll go to you.
Well, I think that I would have to say, because I got stopped by a cop coming over here. I didn't stop at a stop sign. I slowed down considerably. And I asked him, I said, well, what's the difference between slowing down the way I did and stopping? He said, well, $15. I'd say D.
D, use it as proof that crime
Yeah,
doesn't
I'd
pay.
use it as proof that crime doesn't pay.
All right, Scoey, thank you. Wayne, what would you do?
I go along with that. I'd use it as proof that crime doesn't pay.
Well, you keep following me, man. You're going to lose.
You know what? You're a trying attorney. You're going to be attorney, right?
Well,
you
the bar
want
doesn't think so yet.
Yeah, okay. Well, I do. And I want your opinion on this. Once a policeman stopped me and asked me why I had a red light on the back of my car.
Why you had a
Why
red
you
light
had
on
a
your
red
car?
light?
We know why you had it. Well,
That concludes the answers from our guests, so let's find out how to score those answers and yours at home. Consistency isn't one of the strong points of
Yes.
a changeable individual. Thus, if you decided on C, insist that speeding isn't really a crime, which none of our guests did, you sound dippy enough to get 15 points.
Dickie?
If you selected B, as Nancy Kulp did, tell him to do as you say, not as you do, you scored 10 points. Nancy?
I did.
You picked A, say that nobody's perfect, as Donna Jean Young did.
Oh,
you
you
scored
did it
5
again.
points.
Never mind.
And if you said D, use it as proof that crime doesn't pay, as our contestant Wayne did, and as Scoey Mitchell did, you have too much logic to be considered changeable,
Oh,
and you
my
get
goodness.
0.
Oh, come on.
Oh, gracious.
Now let's move right on to the fourth question of the day, which is, at its best,
Yes.
would you describe your sex appeal as A, hypnotic, B, confusing, C, disarming, or D, mystifying? We'll hear what our guests have to say about that right after this pause.
Hey, the power of pine sol and a lemon spray to go.
Let's take a moment now to find out what prize we have in store for our contestant Wayne. Here's Johnny Jenkins.
Thank you, Jim. Our contestant for today will receive an assortment of Super Stereo 8-track cartridges from the North American Leisure Corporation, featuring America's top recording artists. The sound is great on NAL, and it will be even greater because we're including a stereo tape unit from the Automatic Radio Company. Now back to Jim McCrell and the Game Game.
Thank you, Johnny. In today's quiz for How Changeable Are You, our fourth question is, at its best, would you describe your sex appeal as A, hypnotic, B, confusing, C, disarming, or D, mystifying? Let's find out from one who should know, Donna Jean Young.
Thank you.
Keep confusing us.
I would say
Oh, Donna, for
my my sex appeal is...
Is putrid.
You want to play checkers? If you're a move.
got you there.
And I haven't been jumped yet.
Oh, there's a blip.
At its best, Donna Jean, would you describe your sex appeal as A, hypnotic, B, confusing, C, disarming, D, mystifying, or one of the four?
Right. A, hypnotic, B, confusing, C, disarming.
Of the four.
Of the four, I would say
Must be a
that I
bastard,
am.
though.
I am... Be confusing.
Yes, I would say that.
All right, Donna Jean says be confusing. Let's go to Scoey Mitchell.
I think her sex appeal is confusing also. Oh, I would say that my sex appeal is low.
They don't say that. You can't... Donna, for heaven's
Of the four, Scoey.
Of the four, I would say C, disarming.
C, disarming.
Yes, because...
It surely was.
All right, Nancy Kulp.
It's more like a battle cry. I think I have to say mystifying because it certainly confuses me. I don't understand it at all, but it's there. I do.
All right. Nancy Kulp takes D, mystifying. We'll go to our contestant, Wayne. Wayne, at its best, would you describe your sex appeal as?
I want to hear this.
Well, it's... Depends on if my wife is watching. No, actually, I'm going to follow you. It's disarming. It scares me.
Your sex appeal is what?
Disarming.
Disarming.
It's
Right.
disarming me.
All right, that concludes the answers from our guests, so let's
Thank
find out how
goodness.
we'll score those answers to you.
Grief.
According to studies on changeable nature,
Yes.
it leads to a lot of basic misunderstanding because it is attracted to the mysterious. Thus, if you picked D, mystifying, as Nancy Kulp did, you score 15 points.
Is that good or
If you
bad?
chose B, confusing, as Donna Jean Young did, you get 10 points, Donna Jean.
You
You
don't
selected
deserve
C,
them if you get
disarming, as our contestant Wayne did, and as Scoey Mitchell did, you score 5 points. And if you said A, hypnotic, which none of our guests did, you get a 0.
I was going to say that.
Here's the last question of the day before we find out how changeable are you. And remember, Wayne, you were predicted that you would score lower. So let's see if you're right.
Nobody scored yet.
The question is,
Could I go sit in the audience?
I'd like to go
a friend...
Go to the bathroom.
Raise your hand.
Whee! A friend of yours offers to tell you a secret if you promise to do nothing about it. After you promise, he informs you that someone is selling pictures of you wearing nothing but a hat and gloves. Would you A, keep your promise and do nothing? B, tell your friends you're going to break your promise? C, ask your friend to release you from the promise? Or D, try to get the pictures without telling your friend? What would you do, Scoey?
No, you're going.
Let me hear that question again. No, the reason I want the question again is I happen to be in that situation right now.
We know.
What kind of a hat was it?
I'd like to know what kind of a bottom it was.
I think that I would try, I think I'd try to never let that happen again, really. I tried D.
D.
Yeah.
Try to get the pictures without telling your friend. Nancy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh,
But then
yeah.
I don't happen to be in that position.
But I'm not changeable.
I don't look good in a hat.
Or
You may call me Onion Head. I just said, I would B, tell my friend I was going to break the promise.
all right.
Yes, absolutely.
Donna Jean, what would you do?
Huh?
What would you do?
Well, most people confuse me. If I have a hat on, they always think I'm a soft boy. Without anything on the bottom?
You'd probably try to get a press agent.
Donna Jean,
No, you know what I would do?
we have to hurry.
Okay, where are we going? I would try to get them to release me by giving them the picture.
Right. Donna Jean says C. I'll accept that. Ask your friend to release you from the
I
promise.
say C.
All right. Wayne, what would you do?
Well, it's a toss-up between being embarrassed or keeping your word and being analytical about it. I'd
Oh,
say
let's
keep your
be
word.
analytical by
Oh,
all
you
means.
should be
Oh, yes.
analytical about
You
it.
would keep your promise and do
While
nothing?
we're here.
Yeah. I think
All
you
right.
should.
Thank you, Wayne. That completes the answers for our final test question, so let's see how this is scored.
Yep.
And again, a reminder that in this topic, a low score is better. The more you value your promise, the less likely you are to be changeable. Thus, if you picked D, try to get the pictures away without telling your friend, as Scoey Mitchell did, you get 15 changeable
That's
points.
what I do.
If you selected B, as Nancy Kulp did, tell your friends you're going to break your promise.
Yes,
you
yes.
get 10 points. If you chose C, as Donna Jean Young did, ask your friend to release you from the promise, which is probably the most reasonable response, you score 5 points. And if you said A, as our contestant Wayne did, keep your promise and do nothing, Wayne, you get a 0. Now it's time for you to look up your points and come up with your final score. We'll tell you what your total score means, and we'll find out how our contestant Wayne compares to our guest stars right after this pause.
Followed by the irrepressible Bob Eubanks hosting the Newlywed Game and then the new Newlywed Game.
Let's see how to interpret the final scores of our celebrities and our viewers. If you scored 0 to 10 points, which none of our guest stars did, you were rated as inert. Granted, people can depend on you to stick to what you say, but it sounds like you are almost incapable of changing your mind. Be sure you're just not stubborn. If your score was 15 to 25 points, which again, that's none of our guest stars, you're classified as stable. This suggests that you have a good understanding of what you want and what you like, but you can still reverse yourself when you know that you're wrong. A total score of 30 to 45 points, and that's you, Donna Jean. It's also you, Scoey, and also you, Nancy.
Uh-huh.
That places you in the flexible category.
Yeah.
You're still learning about yourself. You have to show the world.
We sure are.
I'm 9 years old and I'm still learning about myself. Great.
Thank you, Scoey. Thank you.
Scoey.
Oh,
Scoring 30 to 45 points places you in the flexible category. You're still learning about yourself and are thus willing to shift your thinking when you find out another way is better.
Isn't that
But you're
something?
settled
that's
enough
great.
to make basic plans.
Thanks, man. I really got something out of this session today,
I
Doc.
did too, Doctor.
Scoring 50 to 60
get to
points
lie
places
down.
you in the fickle group. You can make up your mind just fine, so fine, in fact, that you make it up several times a day. But when you're not driving your friends crazy, you can be amusing. Now, if your score at home was 65 to 75 points, you're described as erratic, which is a polite word for weird. You are so changeable, it's difficult to follow you from sentence to sentence, and the only way to plan an evening with you is to trail behind you and let the chips fall where they may. And we know what our celebrities have scored, so let's find out about our contestant. Wayne, you predicted you would score lower than our celebrity guest. That means you'll receive $25 for every celebrity who scores higher than you. If you score lower than all three, you'll get $100. So let's see what you get.
stick with me, kid.
You get a $25 and $100 from the game game. Let's change it. Marvelous. You're in the stable category, Wayne. Thank you so much. Thank you, panel. Until the next test, this is Jim McCrell reminding you that the more you know about yourself, the more you stand to learn here on The Game Game.
These tests are intended strictly for amusement and entertainment. The Game Game is a Chuck Barris game show.